This production comes to you in association with the Bluebell Warrington. Situated in an 18th century building in the town centre and just a 5-minute walk from the HJ Stadium, the Bluebell is the perfect destination for pre- and post-game food and drink. The 2024 Warrington Pub of the Year is now the official home of Super League Raw on Warrington Wolves match days for both home and away supporters. Super League Raw are delighted to have agreed a members-only area, allowing our community to come together to discuss rugby league pre- and post-match. So set your course to the Bluebell Warrington on match days and beyond. You are sure to be greeted with a warm welcome and a cold beer. Super League Raw and the Bluebell, the perfect partnership in enhancing your match day experience. Well, hello and good evening on this fine Wednesday. Great to have your company. As always, apologies for the 24-hour delay. But yes, daughter, absolutely outstanding, no dramas. Thank you for messages of support where that's concerned. For those who don't know and maybe listening on the podcast, had to delay because my little girl was at Alder Hay yesterday. But nothing to worry about. And Super League Raw is back, albeit it's a Wednesday. Good evening, Greg. How are you, sir?
Good evening, sir. Family always comes first. That's what I always say. So I hope she's getting better. Yeah, good evening. Good to be with you this, very cold November evening.
Indeed. I don't know where Joel is. He's I don't know. He's there, but he's not there. It's a bit weird, really. Joel at the moment is the invisible man. Steph, good evening. Looks like Mr. Sale has had a haircut for the occasion. Good evening, Mr. Sale.
Absolutely. Got to have the haircut for the fans. Speaking of fans, I've got to give a shout out to Scott at Screwfix in Hindley, who said he watched the show today and recognised my name from the order. So he was all excited to see me when I came in to pick up my light bulbs this afternoon. So
it's a glamorous life. It's a glamorous life.
They're the only light bulbs that's going to be seen by Steph tonight. Anyway,
absolutely.
That's story.
Absolutely.
Let's have a man that picks your light bulbs up for you, like Dave.
I wish.
Joel, I'm sure, is around somewhere. We'll wait for him to come on, but he is here in spirit, if nothing else. At the moment,
Hall, is he in the dark?
We'll get to that a bit later. I don't know. He's having trouble with his camera, bless him. I don't know what's going on with Joel. He will when he comes on. We'll get him on. Good evening to Mark Hill. Good evening to you, Matt Timms with us as well. Phil Webster, Craig Forth, Dawn Kirkby. All the members are in. Rebecca Frey and Rispin with us off the back of Amsterdam. Joella Cracker, Alan Clegg as well. John Wilkinson. Yeah, they're all in. You know the crack, guys. Get your thoughts in the chat. Sam Cleworth. Thoughts on emergency meeting regarding Salford? Well, we'll go there in a moment. In fact, actually, we'll go there straight away. Yeah, this is interesting. Matty Shaw, yet again, going ahead of time on this, as with the fixtures. We'll get to them in a moment as well. I think this type of thing should be left to the club to announce in their own good time. I don't like this type of thing. Appreciate Sam wants us to talk about it. Greg, not good. It would appear.
Doesn't appear to me, does it?
Need some money.
Well, yeah. It would appear so. We don't know the details, do we? But it's. I was hoping that it would be behind. Hello, Joe.
Hello, Joe.
All this would be behind them after the troubles that they've had for the past few seasons. I think really now they need to look at moving back into the heart of Salford at some point, away from that stadium. I think. Yes, they might lose IMG points, but what's more crucial than the fact we have a Salford Rugby League club or they have IMG points to me? I think, probably as far as I'm concerned, they have to bite the bullet now and make drastic decisions if they're in financial trouble again. So I don't know. I mean, it could be a lot of over dramatization. It could be something and nothing, but if they are in financial difficulties, then serious decisions have to be made regarding the future of Salford, I think.
Yeah, Matt Tim's if you're in the chat, give the video a like. It helps with the algorithm. Do you know what? Fair play to you, Matt. Absolutely. I normally start with that. We'll come to Steph in a moment. Like, comment, and subscribe. That's what we always say. Press your like button, press the share button, subscribe if you're on YouTube, and don't forget to comment throughout the show for your shout out. Absolutely well done, Matt. Outstanding stuff. Well done. Steph, I mean, the problem with this type of thing is because there's no real context behind the announcement that this is happening tomorrow. We don't know. It causes speculation. It causes Salford fans, perhaps, and players and their families to get a little bit jittery. This is why I said it should be left for the club. I don't like this type of thing when it happens. The story will come out eventually as to what this meeting is all about. A lot of speculation that at the moment the monies that the council promised the club haven't materialised yet, and that potentially could lead to payroll problems in December. I've read, and all this could be nonsense. It should be kept behind closed doors, and the club announce as a club announcement when they're ready to do so. Would you agree?
Yeah, and you can tell it's the off season. Put it that way, because obviously people are clambering for stories, aren't they? It's not unexpected to me, this, if it comes out that it is true, because I think we rewind 12 months, I highlighted my concerns when they were asking the fans to donate money, and it was significant amount of money. I think it was £1,000 at the, and they were offering them direct debits to do it and things like that as well. That really set the alarm bells off for me, because that kind of model just isn't sustainable to ask fans for that kind of money. I really do fear what's going on at Salford, but you could see this coming with their attendances. We've been saying all the brand of rugby they've been playing, to finish fourth this season deserves attendances of the 8, 9, 10,000, and to be only getting an average of about 4.5, 5. It's just not sustainable in Super League.
Yeah.
So this is my big concern for them, and I think you're right in terms of getting back into the heartlands of Salford rather than that stadium. But I think they're committed to it now in terms of the deals they've been done and where would they actually go. The only one.
Yeah, it's a shame, Steph, isn't it? Because if they were at the Willows would be packed to the rafters.
Yes, yeah,
that kind of rugby league.
Absolutely, yeah.
So the Willows was a great little ground.
Yeah.
Still love going to the Willows.
Yeah, but I do. The thing is, as well, this was my concern with them bringing players in like Masters and stuff like that who won't be coming cheap. And it's this model that they've got there just doesn't seem to be sustainable at the moment. And hopefully the rumours aren't true, but you tend to think when people are being summoned for emergency meetings at Super League level, then there's no smoke without fire.
Yeah, but you're saying emergency big. I mean, Matt Tim's there saying that as a Salford fan, he thinks they're in rougher shape than perhaps people realise. But, this could have been a predetermined meeting. I'm not being funny, but, we put an announcement out this week and you hit the nail on the head there, Steph, that a lot of people clamouring for stories. What we won't do is that we won't put clickbait out there just to be popular and just to try and get attention. We will do it the right way. We share things from the clubs. We do it, I believe, the right and appropriate way. And like I say, this could have been a meeting that was already scheduled. Somebody's tipped the wink that the finances is going to be on the agenda. Yeah. And somebody's ran with it. I mean, like I say, Joel, obviously, Huddersfield, another club that, let's be fair, he's run on a pretty tight budget, on a shoestring. You, as somebody who's I say probably not in the same bracket as Salford at the moment, but as a club that is certainly in that area of the game. I know you've got Ken, but let's be fair, your attendances are very similar to Salford. Money is premium at Huddersfield. If these type of things were coming out in the press prior to the club announcing it, as a fan, how would you feel?
I think I am delayed, so if I am, I do apologise. As regards the finances side, I'd be most worried that we would go through, and I'm thinking of the same for Salford, that they go through the same issue that Bradford had. So whether they'd be allowed to, if this is true as what they're saying, if they are allowed to remain in the league, they may have to start on deducted points. And that's not fair, because that's a way of kicking them out of the league, essentially. And you never want that to happen. It was gutting at the time to see Bradford having to start on -12 points, I think it was. So, and that's the way the RFL was run. I don't know if that's the same now with IMG, but it's very concerning, and I feel for the Salford fans because, you want to be going into a pre-season with a lot of optimism, especially with the signings that they've got. So for them now to have this hanging over their heads, it's a knock-on effect because the fans aren't going to want to buy the merchandise because they think, what's the point if we're not going to be playing? Is there any point in me buying my season ticket at this point because we might be going under? Might not get my money back. So it has this knock-on effect. So unfortunately, like it's been said, it's not fair to put out these meetings and say that this is what's happening because it puts people who don't know the ins and outs into a very sticky position. And that helps the club even less.
Yeah, well, what we'll do, we'll hold that there. There will be an official announcement from Salford, and we will share that on our page when the official announcement comes via Salford. But as it came up in the chat, yeah, we will pay reference to it. But we at Super League Raw just want to underline this. This is just clickbait, and this is just speculation at the moment. Until things come directly from the club, that's where we are at Super League Raw. We go from the club. We wait for announcements. We try and comment on the game in the right and the appropriate way. Not saying that, these rumours aren't true and that the journalist involved hasn't been given the tip-off, but for me, fans deserve to be told directly from the club. That's my personal view on that. Speaking of good news, though, let's get on to positivity. Matty Pete, go on, lad. The first ever representative of the Rugby Football League, who represents Super League Rugby League, to win the Sports Journalist Association's Committee Award. Go on, Matty, lad. This is great for the sport, isn't it? I mean, let's be fair. IMG should be jumping all over this. Greg, would you say?
Yeah, I agree. Well done, Matt. Well done. Well done, that man. Thoroughly deserved. Yes, this should be a big selling point for the RFL and for Rugby League. And I agree with you. Yeah, he's done remarkably well to do that and to be named. Yeah,
absolutely.
All power to him. I think we can do, the RFL's marketing machine as it is will do a fantastic job of letting everybody know that this is a case, no doubt.
Let's hope so. And there he is, Scott Blinkhorn, thanking Mr. Sale for his shout-out. Question is, will Scott do that QR code and actually become a member? He's watching every week. The least he can do. Go
Absolutely.
on, you know what I mean, Steph? Come on,
he wasn't as attractive as the Huddersfield cheerleaders, but he's my second favourite fan club member now. So yeah.
I'll tell you who's as attractive. She's with us again. There she is, Nicola Burtwood. 4 kisses this week because Joel's with us. Well done, Nick. That's what we like to see. Marvellous. But Matty Pete, go on, Steph. Give him your tribute, mate. I know you want to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, what he's done is nothing short of remarkable. That to do what Wigan did this season. It'll be a long time, I think, unless Wigan do it again this season. I think it'll be a long time before another club can replicate what Wigan have done. And obviously under the leadership of Matty, who I think is a fantastic coach, but also a fantastic human being. And I can't think of many better people to represent our sport on that stage than Matty. So congratulations to him and to Wigan.
Well, we reckon Frey there, a wire, patting Matty Pete on the back. They are, This is the beauty of Super League Raw members. We call it straight. I say this all the time. Well done, Rebecca Craig. As a Wigan fan, that's why yours wasn't put up. It means far more when it's from a different side. Joel, can he back this up with a BBC Sports Personality Team of the Year? I can't think of another team that is more befitting of this one. Do you?
Well, of the world champions, and he's clearly done, what every coach wants to do: be at the pinnacle of your game and represent the best club. So why not? Let's go for it.
Happy days indeed. Right, let's keep the conversation flowing, gentlemen. In terms of news that's in there. Where are we going to go now? Let's go to that. Mal Meninga coming out and backing an Ashes tour in this time next year, winter next year, autumn next year. A proper tour as well. Talks in glowing terms as a player, what it meant to him. This would be good, Greg.
Oh, please let this happen. Some of the best nights at the old Wilderspool was when the Aussie touring team came to play against Warrington. I've been to Wigan and Saints to watch the Aussies play there as well. It's fantastic. I'd love it to be against a Great Britain side rather than an England side. I really would. I really hope that if we get the Ashes tour, they reform the Great Britain side. But yeah, I really, really hope this goes ahead. I'd love it to be played. They were talking about a game in London, and then was it Wigan and Leeds? I think. I'd love all three games to be played in the Rugby League Heartland. To be honest, yes, it'd be nice to have it at Wembley, but it would probably be the Olympic Stadium or West Ham's ground as it is now, where you're just too far away from the pitch. So yeah, I really, really hope this happens. Really excited for it. And Mal Meninga played for Saints in '84, I think it was. He knows what he's talking about, that guy.
Well, I mean, let's be fair, Steph. We always talk about the wonderful years when this was more regular. We want this back, don't we? I mean, an Ashes, England, Australia, Great Britain, hopefully Australia, brings back brilliant memories. And for those youngsters that are watching this, believe you me, an Ashes test is a very special thing, Steph.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've mentioned it before on the show. One of my best memories as a lad growing up was going down with my granddad and my dad to watch GB Australia at Wembley, the old Wembley. Jonathan Davis scoring a magical try that day. And we beat him, I think, in that one. We always tended to win the first game. Went downhill from there. But yeah, no, I'm totally with Reggie. I think it should be the Great Britain. There was talks about bringing Great Britain back again, wasn't there? So yeah, I'd love that, and I wouldn't discount grounds like Tottenham, which has been obviously used for the Challenge Cup. What a fantastic stadium Tottenham is, and Arsenal, the Emirates as well, because both of those are 60,000. Whereas I think with Wembley 90 would be pushing it. I think if you were to go to Arsenal or Tottenham, 60,000 would be quite achievable. But again, it all comes down to the marketing of the game. And this is where, for me, IMG have got to step up and really promote this kind of stuff to grow the game. So I think I would like to have a game in London and then two, like you say, in Heartlands, either that being at Wigan, Hull, Leeds, one of those kind of stadiums would be ideal.
Happy days. No, and Joel, if there was one played at Henley, I'm sure you'd make the pilgrimage across to that one.
Of course, yeah. I think it'd be good to maybe have it at Huddersfield, though. We hold more people. But there we go.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be a way of getting some people into Huddersfield Stadium and watching rugby league. So yeah, happy days. I mean, Joel, if you're going to keep us waiting to talk, at least talk for a while. He's always you're going to keep us delayed. He hasn't even got to the joke yet. I'm still looking at him and waiting for him to smile. Unbelievable stuff. Anyway, yeah, right, okay. So in other news, St. Helens this week announced their squad. Here it is. We'll get into this, of course, as we get into January. But the main talking point, Carl Felt, he's there at number 2 on the wing, taking over from Tommy Makinson. And, of course, Tristan Saylor, given the number 6 shirt. Dawn Baker in the chat saying, imagine if they played us now, the Aussies. I tell you what, the likes of Armstrong and Saylor and all of these lads that are coming over from Australia, welcome to England, is all I would say this last couple of days. I bet training has been, I bet they've had no dramas doing a warm-up to get warm, let's put it that way. But Saylor has been given the number 6, gentlemen. We'll get into the strength of that squad a little bit nearer the time. But Saylor at 6, Felt we know is a try-scoring machine, taking over from Tommy. No major surprises there. What I do want to talk about, though, is the rumour in Australian press today that Moses Mbai could be off to the Penrith Panthers. I don't know if you've seen this, but Penrith are looking very seriously at Moses Mbai. Thoughts on that? I mean, I don't think Saints will be because of his versatility, played in the army last year. Obviously, we know he's a reasonable hooker as well as a foil for Daz Clark. They'd have to go back into the transfer market. What's your thoughts on that? I mean, there's no doubt if the rumour's true, you can't see Mbai turning down the Panthers, can you? Greg?
Oh, so it was up to me. No, you can't. No. I just wonder if it's kept coming from the same sources that saying Vaughan was going to go to the NRL, and there's a few other players who've been going to the NRL. I think it's a case of let's believe it when we see it actually happen. But what I'd like to do if he does go, what I'd love to see is for Saints to promote one of the youngsters to come through. I'm not so hot on the Saints academy and reserve teams, but I'm sure they've got another James Roby in there somewhere, just biding his time and waiting for his chance. So, I'd love to see if this does happen, and let's face it, the Vaughan room has been quashed. That they bring through a youngster and he learns from Darrell Clark, like Roby did from Cunningham all those years ago.
It was Jake Burns. I just brought it up then just to remind
me. Is that who it is? Jake Burns?
Burns, that he got a bit of game time stuff at the back end of the last season. Yeah. He would be a player that they want to develop. But one of the things we were all waiting to see was Welsby going to get 6? Because there was a lot of rumours that Welsby might have gone 6, and of course, I think it's too early yet for Robinson to get one. Frankly,
far too early yet.
Far too early for him at this moment in time. But they've resisted the temptation, and Ian's not England fullback. Jack Welsby remains at fullback.
Yeah. That Welsby the Man of Steel nominee for 2022, 23, and yeah.
Boys, behave yourselves.
No, we're joking. But no, I can see. I appreciate they've given Sailor the 6. I don't think Sailor is a 6. Because obviously there was a lot of ties between Lee and Sailor at one point. So I did quite a bit of research on him, and he's always played either like a centre or a fullback role. So whether they try him at 6 and see where they go, but I can see those two swapping over and Welsby going back in at 6 and Sailor going in at 1, regardless of the pitch. A bit like Matt Moylan at Lee, obviously given the 6 shirt, but then reverted back to fullback. We might be wrong. He may light it up at 6, but from what I've seen of him, I don't think his kicking game's strong enough for 6. But
this happens a lot. I mean, we were talking. This happens a lot. A lot of Australians that fancy themselves in the halves, who've never cut it at NRL level, at the halves, come over here and want to play halves. I mean, I mentioned Michael Monaghan.
He's a prime example.
A prime example. Wanted to come and play half back, ended up playing hooker and was sensational there. And I think this is another one. But again, it's an option where they can, like with Moylan, where they can move it about and test it out. Because I think a lot of Saints fans want Welsby more in the thick of it in the middle.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not by any means saying that Sailor's not going to be a great player, because I think he is going to be a really, really good player. But I think from the way I've seen him play, he's a natural fullback. And I think that's where he'll end up slotting in. But, stranger things have happened. He may come in and be the next Bevan French.
Phil Webster says you need to turn Joel off, then turn him back on. Just tried that. Don't know if it's going to work or not. But there he is. Your take on Tristan Sailor, Joel?
He's a very good player. I was very surprised to see him at 6, because I think he's better as probably a utility back. I think he did say he's mainly at fullback, which he has, but he's a very good centre and he can play wing as well. So to see him at 6 was a bit of a surprise, but I'd see him as a stronger centre, potentially fullback when needed. Don't get me wrong, he can drop in at 6 because he's got that skill set, but I just don't know if he's quick enough maybe to be a 6, because you need somebody who's lightning at 6 really.
Well, the thing is, as well, it's been announced this week that Connie Hall's going to be there for an extra year. I was going to
say that, next
year. Which again says a bit, doesn't it? I mean, have they been looking St. Helens and they haven't found anything, so they've decided, we'll give Hull an extra year. Interesting times, we'll find out, but we'll get into a bit more detail on that, like I say, as we get closer to the new season. We'll bring Joel back in because, of course, it was announced that Jacob Gagai is now a Huddersfield Giants player for 2025 this week. Some great stats considering the minutes that he's played in the NRL. Try scoring record, absolutely outstanding. Joel, you must be out. You must be pretty optimistic. Let's be fair. The South's NRL, it's a different beast. But when he has played, he's been potent, hasn't he?
He has, yeah. And I'm a South fan, so I've been able to watch him play when I've watched the games, and it's been good. He's the biggest thing with Gagai is he's going to be a great link up with Lolohea. I'd imagine that Gagai would probably play more fullback, just because I think he's probably suited that position a little bit more than Tui. But I think that it's quite interchangeable. So he could also play at a 6 if he needed to. If I personally would have had him, I'd have had him at a centre, or wing even. Sorry, should I say? And had Swift and Gagai on both the wings, and then you've got strike on both sides, because we didn't always have that for many years. So I wanted to have as much strike as I could on the wings, but it sounds like he could be potentially going to full back. But if that's the case, that's great, because then that brings 2 into 6, and then he's got that flair we've got with him. He's a cracking player, and the fact that he scored, I can't remember how many tries he scored. I think was it 9 tries in 19 games he's played, or something like that. So
but his minutes on the field, Joel, a lot. You know, like that. You know, people will say, "Oh, that 19 games, 9 tries," but when you actually take into account the minutes he played in those 19 games, it's a hell of a strike rate. Any truth to the rumor? Are you hearing anything over 10 mil? A third bunny coming over? A bit of rumor mill on that one. 10 mil from the bunnies as well. Any truth to that?
Yes, that is a potentially good rumor.
A potentially good rumour, as he says with a little smile on his face. That will probably explain why Mr. Gagai will be fullback and not centre then. Would it be right in saying?
You're not far off.
A little nod. Good man, well done. Right, okay, where are we going now? Another one as well that's hot off the press. Kieran Hudson going from Rhinos to the Castleford Tigers. Danny Maguire plucking him from Leeds to bolster his front line. Good move this for Hudson, because he's not really had much of a look in Greg at Leeds, and I think he'll certainly get a bit more game time at the Tigers.
Yeah, and I think he deserves it. He's shown what he can do in flashes. So yeah, I think we're going to get a lot of this now that you know, players who maybe aren't getting a lot of first team action are going to be moving kind of around the clubs. You know, coaches are going to be looking at their former clubs, their former employers, and bringing in names that they think can do a job. So good luck to him, and I hope he does get a few more first team performances under his belt.
Absolutely. Right, let's move on, Steph. The 745 game took place at the weekend, a 32-21 win for Rugby League. Go on, lads. That's what we like to see. Get one over that silly sport that's called Rugby Union. Outstanding stuff. Great occasion, good crowd, good money raised. Great to see Rugby League coming out on top there, Mr. Sale.
Yeah, it was another great event, and great to see it so well supported. And I think, you know, more events like this that we can all get behind. I think we should all back as much as we possibly can.
Happy days indeed. And there you go, Joel. Dawn Baker saying that Gagai is one of the ones that she's most looking forward to see from the current crop that are coming in from the Southern Hemisphere.
He's doing a radio channel as well, isn't he?
Is he? Oh, yeah, he's Radio Gagai. Good lad. That's what we like to see. Great stuff. Anyway, the show must go on. There it is. You know, we always roll with the punches on Super League Raw. But yeah, we know that Dawn likes to go to the John Smith Stadium. So she'll be seeing Gagai plenty of times. Maybe she'll go on her bicycle. She likes to ride a bicycle, by all accounts. But that's another story. But yeah, well done. Outstanding. Right, okay. So we've come to that part of the show, a new part of the show, due to public demand, of course. It's time for this. All aboard the Nixon Report. Over to you, Mr. Nixon.
Well, that's a great picture on me there, Dave. Well, I was hoping to be able to announce the new Warrington head coach for the women's team tonight, but that's been put on, not appointing, but the announcement has been put on hold for another week. So my lips are sealed. There has been an appointment, but I can't announce who that is just yet until various things have been put into place. So it's been a real quiet week this week as far as the women's game has been concerned, unless anybody else out there knows more than I do. But we had Megan Williams, who's joined Wigan from Saints. She's a Saints Academy girl, but looking for more first team rugby league next season. Wigan are kind of building a decent squad for next season. I think they'll challenge again next season. Dropping down into the Championship, Swinton Lionesses. Oh my word, have they made some signings? It's been a constant kind of flow of signings over the last few weeks. Steph does always leave when I come on. It's just, but this week they've signed Jodie Morris, Emma Dwyer, and Olivia Harbour from Wigan, and they've also signed Sammy Simpson and Shannon Stevens from Warrington. Now, Sammy Simpson has been one of the outstanding performers for Warrington over the last few seasons. Had a really, really serious injury, hand injury towards the middle of last season, which really did coincide with the start of Warrington's run of bad form. And Shannon Stevens, really unlucky last season. She's only still 21, I think. Was out all season with injury and illness. But if she hits the game, she's a future England international, Shannon Stevens. So Swinton Lionesses are looking really strong. Been reported this week that Grace Burnett has also left Warrington to concentrate on her career in the armed forces. So, while it's been a quiet week, after having a chat with Dave, kind of came up with sort of 5 players to kind of look out for in the coming season. Now, this is a difficult one because squads haven't been finalised. But based on kind of last year's squads and what I've heard going around, my kind of 5 to watch next season, I did look at Georgia Sutherland at Saints, but Saints have had a lot of new signings this last few weeks, so again she might struggle to get into the first team this season. So my 5 have gone with Amelia Brown at Huddersfield, and these are in no particular order, by the way. But Amelia Brown made a deserved debut for England, I thought, against Wales. Gave a solid performance, showed exactly what she could do. I saw the performances against Warrington especially, that she is going to be a superstar, a real strong running fullback. Beth Dainton, now she was a Welsh captain against England. Wales didn't come out of that looking too good, but I've picked on Beth Dainton because she might flourish the fact that Amy Hardcastle has gone back to Saints, and she might be able to, reach her full potential there. I had to pick a Warrington player, didn't I? Warrington's Player of the Year, Millie Bell. Now, if Warrington, who are in a rebuilding kind of process this off-season, if Warrington can build a strong pack and give Millie Bell a platform, she plays in the halves, I think she could be one of the standout halves in the competition next season. But it depends, again, of what kind of a team Warrington put around her this year, especially the pack. Anna Davis, again, her England debut. Tries galore. She was on the radar last season. I think next season she could really hit straps and she could be the standout centre in Super League, the Women's Super League next season. She's kind of in the centre. She's Amy Hardcastle's heir apparent as that strike player. And I'm going to look at Lee as well, Lee Leopards. Charlotte Melvin, second row for Lee Leopards. Played at Warrington until a few years ago, and there was one that slipped through the net, really, which is a shame. But I've picked Charlotte Melvin because her goal kicking is spot on. She kicks them from all over the park, and if Lee in that little group, I'm not saying Lee will get in the top 4. I think that top 4 is fairly set again next season, unless Steph knows something I don't. But in that battle for 5th, 6th, 7th place and to avoid relegation, and I'm by no means saying Lee will get relegated next season, but her goal kicking could very well be the difference in those tight games. So they are the kind of the 5 I'm looking. There are others on the outskirts of that who might come in and out, but they're for me at this moment in time until squads are kind of finalised. They're my 5 that I'd be keeping an eye on next season.
Outstanding, Mr. Nixon. Beautiful report there. We'll make sure we keep an eye on those. I completely agree with Brown. I thought she was very good.
But Shannon Stevens, I mean, if she stays injury-free, she is a player. She is a player. She really, really is.
Well, we will note those names down and we will keep a good eye on it. And it's only right that we give Steph the right to reply. Steve Cartledge asking, how come Steph leaves when the Nixon report comes on?
Just restocking.
Kev. That's what it is.
Yeah.
takes it as an opportunity to refresh his glass. Outstanding stuff. Well done, Mr. Nixon. Well done. Right, okay. What we're going to do now, I'm going to tell we're going to have a little chat about this. What an absolute privilege it was this time last week, we were in the company of greatness, Mr. Kevin Sinfield, Sir Kevin Sinfield, at the Power Hall, ladies and gentlemen. Now, before we talk about the occasion and what a privilege it was to be in the room with the great man, ladies and gentlemen, go and get your tickets. If you're up in Yorkshire, tickets are still available to go and see Sir Kev at Bradford next Thursday at St. George's Hall. Tickets only 31 quid. Brilliant entertainment. That is next Thursday. Get your tickets. Go and see Sir Kev. He's going to be in the new year. Hull on the 22nd of March. Tickets still available. And Salford at the Lowry on the 24th of March. Tickets still available. A lot of other gigs have sold out. Those three, they're the next three that are still available. Please, please, please go and watch Kev. One, because it's an incredible night. I mean, an inspiring guy. We'll talk about that now. But also, money's going to a great cause. It was an outstanding evening. Where I'm going to start. Steph, I'll start with you as we've just had the Nixon report and work around from there. Privilege, absolute privilege.
Yeah, it was a wonderful evening, and I've always wanted. Obviously, we've all followed Kev's story and obviously the Rob story so intently over the last few years. I've always wanted the opportunity to be in that kind of. It felt one-on-one, didn't it? It felt like you were actually the only person in the room at times. It was that intense kind of thing and what was being discussed. But I think the how quiet the theatre was when he was speaking just showed how intently people were listening and so enthralled with his story and lots of things that I didn't know as well, and I thought they got it absolutely bang on in terms of the emotions of it, but also the some laughter in there. And I thought Barry Mack did a great job of hosting it as well. I thought you could tell those two have got chemistry, and the compere as well. Obviously, it was nice that he had that bit of a relationship with Kev as well. But no, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was obviously great spending time with you guys as always, and our fathers, and it was just a really, really nice occasion. But like you said, there's tickets available. I encourage anybody to go because you'll be just as enthralled as we were.
Yeah, Dawn mentioned in Halifax. I'm not sure if the tickets are still available for that one, Dawn. Joel obviously travelled all the way from Huddersfield to be in the company of our good selves and Sir Kevin, more Sir Kevin than ourselves. But Joel, it was an incredible occasion, wasn't it?
It was. I've got to be honest, it took me 3 hours to get to you. And I just found out yesterday that I got fined from Warrington Borough Council for driving in a bus lane. Didn't realise it was there. But all them fines and all that frustration later, it was worth every second and every penny. It was absolutely wonderful. If I had the opportunity to go next week again, I would, because I think it was just incredible to listen. I've never been grabbed so much by someone's the way they speak, the knowledge that they have, the professionalism, and just how good of a best friend he really is. And you think, man, that guy is just something else. And it was also one thing that was really, really good about was that which you would imagine that he should and would do, but it wasn't all just about that. It was about him and his life and his career, and I thought it was just quite incredible to listen to.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And Greg, the other thing as well was, we won't spoil it in terms of too much detail, but he goes into what he has to do these challenges. Of course, another challenge coming up in December this year, and we know he's a great man, but when he actually explained what he has to do to get through these challenges, like I said, we were in the presence of a very, very special human being, weren't we?
Oh, yeah, no doubt about that. I think the measure of it was the number of ex-professionals that were there at Warrington. Yeah. Adrian Morley, including Mark Foster, was there, a Warrington legend. I think that's the measure of it. I think the guys that have hit the nail on the head. There was a right balance between sadness and kind of comedy as well. You talk about the measure of the man. the fact that he still treats us as just going out for a run for a mate is, all that he's achieved, and he still refers it to, I just went on a run for a mate to help a mate. That's just, there's a story about sports personality of the year that I'm not going to spoil for anybody who wants to go and watch, but that's hilarious. The story tells about that is hilarious. But yeah, it was a real good night. If you love your rugby league and you're inspired by your rugby league, please get a ticket. Obviously, proceeds and auctions on the night to go to MND. So yeah, please invest in that. You won't. I don't think many will regret going to watch it. So no. It's 2.5 hours well spent.
It is.
And also, that's the first. Sorry, Dave, but that's the first time I have ever been to an event at the Par Hall where we've had to queue around the block to get in, and that's genuine. I've been to many events at the Par Hall, and that's the first time I've been queuing outside until about 3 or 4 minutes before it was due to start.
Absolutely,
mate.
Well,
that's the measure of kind of event it was. Brilliant night, absolutely brilliant night.
Yeah, I would expect that these remaining tickets will go pretty quick. So I'll just repeat that. Next Thursday, St. George's Hall, £31.25. What a great night that'll be. Hull on the 22nd of March and Salford the 24th of March will announce latter ends. I think there's a few more at the back end in the middle of next year as well. But those are the next 3 that you could go to if you want to go to. And of course, I make no apologies for promoting that, because it's an exceptional night, well worth going to watch. Mark Hill asking, why isn't he a sir? We're all asking that. I think that is a matter of time. I think Lindsay, as long as Lindsay Hoyle is,
I think the reason is that he got his MBE or his OBE,
and
he got to wait 5 years until you can get another award.
Correct.
Yeah. I think that's the only reason.
But I do think that Lindsay Hoyle, as long as he's in and around the Parliament, he'll keep banging that drum, and I think it will happen. Right, great stuff, outstanding. Right, where are we going to go next? Because there's plenty to get through, as always. Is it time to go to Super League? In fact, yeah, let's do a bit of Super League Raw news. So we'll do a bit of Super League Raw news. Super League Raw memberships are open. I am down to the last few. Great news for those people who have ordered the Super League Superstars Top Trumps cards. They have landed with me today. Expect them to be with you next week. Outstanding. Really pleased with them. They've come today. I'm absolutely over the moon with those. You're going to enjoy playing that around your Christmas table. Still, the odd couple of sets left. If you want them, you're going to have to be very quick indeed, if that's what you want to do. Of course, don't forget, we've also got the Bluebell on the 21st of January, Super League Raw live at the Bluebell, 21st of January 2025. We know that Earl's coming. There are more guests, but like I say, can't announce them until it's absolutely watertight, but they're telling me they're coming, so those will be announced between now and Christmas, and it is limited places, so it's on first come first served basis on that one. But yeah, that's going to be a great night. Super League Raw live 21st of Jan next year. Be a part of that. Now, last week, of course, we announced that this man, Gary Chambers, was going to be doing our next In Conversation. That, of course, is happening. Don't forget, the full In Conversation series is available for you to watch on our YouTube channels. Well worth a watch. Some brilliant guests in Series 1. We're now on to Series 2. That, of course, kicks off with Aaron Moore. Harry Rushton was last week as well. That is now available for you. And here comes the next 2. It is confirmed Alex Walmsley will be doing In Conversation in the next 2 weeks with myself. We've got Big Al. And also we've got Ian Smith, former Super League referee. Saw Aaron's interview, wants to be a part of it. Of course, Ian no longer a full-time referee, so he can go to places that Aaron perhaps couldn't go to. That is well worth a watch as well. Make sure that that you take on board the In Conversation series. Loads of stuff happening here at Super League Raw, guys. And for the eagle-eyed amongst you, you will see that our sponsors for 2025 have hit the screen next to Greg's head there. The Bluebell, of course, you already knew about, but there is a new kid on the block, and it's the Warrington Wolves Supporters Trust Squad Builder. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is fantastic, because what we're going to do throughout the season is we are going to chart squad builders route to Australia. That's right. They're going to be sending the kids to Australia in the autumn of next year. We're going to have 5 featurettes throughout the season. We're going to get the first one in terms of what that's all about. And of course, different clubs have similar things. What Squad Builders is all about, what success they've had in terms of the likes of Kai Taylor-Ray, Aaron Lindop, Leon Hayes, who have gone through Squad Builder to be a Warrington Wolves player. We'll chart the progress of the young lads throughout the season every couple of months. And then there will be a special featurette their time in Australia. And of course, we are supporting their Super League Raw. So Squad Builder Plus, Warrington Will Support Trust Squad Builder, should I say, they are now officially another sponsor for Super League Raw for 2025. We're delighted to have them on board, gentlemen. Great news. Really looking forward to seeing those young lads. And of course, if you know of other projects around Rugby League that you'd like Super League Raw to cover and get involved with, then drop us a line and we'll see if we can make those introductions. So there you go. Sharp, Swift, and of course, as always, like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget membership. There is a QR code up there. Make sure you get along because, of course, our members on Sunday will be getting together. It's time for Group B. Super League Raw will be in the room. Of course, the boys tonight, Greg, Joel, and Steph, they're going to be representing Super League Raw. No funny business going on either. There is a part of me that will have a good old chuckle at their pain on Sunday night, answering some of these questions. But also we've got Jensen, Dawn Kirkby back from New York. She's going to be playing along. Ian Judson is there as well as Mark Hill. So that is happening on Sunday. We will feature one of those matches this time next week on Super League Raw. That's what we do. The members enjoying quiz action throughout the month, and we will be giving prizes out for those. And if Ryan Birch is watching,
that's the Group of Death.
It is the Group of Death. And if Ryan's watching, I've not forgot, it'll be coming tomorrow, Ryan. You know what I'm talking about, my friend. So there you go. So that's it. Plugs over. That's Super League Raw. Please consider becoming a member. And Jan Carroll, welcome to the membership. A big shout out to Jan, our newest member here at Super League Raw. Right, let's get into, before we get on to the other stuff, let's get to it. We're going to start with the fixtures. Of course, we've had some fixtures come out. These are round one fixtures for next year. They are in, this is it. Wigan Warriors taking on the Leigh Leopards. We'll get to Steph in a minute on that one. Beautiful. Hull FC, of course, under new stewardship, going up against the Catalan Dragons. Saints going up against Salford. The Giants taking on the Wolves, Joel. We're coming to Huddersfield in round one. Go on. Leeds Rhinos taking on the newly promoted Wakefield Trinity. And Hull KR take on the Casper Tigers. Those games played between the 13th to the 16th. I think it's been confirmed, Steph, that you're playing them in your game against Wigan. I'm only joking. Against Wigan Warriors is going to be the first game on Sky. I'll leave that up. Steph, we'll start with you, Leigh Leopards. It couldn't get off to a harder start, mate, could it?
No, but I mean, you could argue it's good to get this one out of the way as well. I know, obviously, we're going to play them twice again, I think, at Wigan this year because of the loop fixtures, which is fantastic. But no, what I would say is I think this could be a potential sellout for an opening fixture, given the fact that we've been deprived of rugby for so long. I'm sure the Leigh fans will go in massive numbers again to this one, and I'm sure the Wigan fans will as well. So what a way to kick off! And if they do anything like they did for the playoff game, it'll be a fantastic atmosphere because I was really impressed with the way Wigan did that. So let's hope we've got the light up posts and everything going for this one again, and Super League 2025 goes off with a bang.
Well, you can already see we're already updating our graphics. There's the new fixture graphic for next year, ladies and gentlemen. Doesn't it look nice? Anyway, but yes, Leigh Leopards going up against Wigan. Let's hope it's as big a crowd as the last time. In the chat, Dawn Baker asking the question over when's Matty Pete's in combo. Don't worry, me and Matt are in conversations. That will be happening between now and the start of the new season. We will have Matt Pete here on Super League Raw. He's assured me. Right, we'll move down to the next one. Joel, I'll bring you in on this one just for variety. Hull FC taking on the Catalan Dragons. It's fair to say the back end of last season, Steve McNamara coming under a bit of pressure. They need to get off to a good start. And let's be fair, there's no doubt about it. Hull FC desperately need to get off to a good start. These two coaches, for different reasons, there's pressure on this one. They both need to get off to a good start to appease the fans. Good game to start the season, Joe?
I think so, and maybe more so for Hull, because we are going to see a different Hull side this year. I think with the personnel that they've got and the experience and quality, you can't not. Whether they're going to have a great season, we don't know, because obviously they've got quite an aged squad with some youth that we know may make the first team, may not. But we've got some quality players there at Hull, and I'm hoping that we're going to see a bit of resurgence for them because they deserve to play far better for the fans than they have done in the past few years. So I think Catalan always find it a bit difficult the first few games of the season, especially when they play away at the start until they find the feet, because they've spent the time in the pre-seasons in France. So this is a good one for Hull, I think, and this is the one I'm actually really looking forward to watching.
Yeah, it should be an absolute belter. Then we go to St Helens at home against Salford Red Devils. Of course, who can forget when Salford went to Saints last year and that wonderful Dion Cross try that won it for the Salford Red Devils. Saints, another team who, let's be fair, by their very, very high standards, will be disappointed with certainly last season. Of course, they got the World Cup Challenge at the start of 23, but a barren season in 2024. They will be smarting over that, chaps. There's no doubt about it. As games go, I mean, I don't think there's going to be any. I don't think any game's an easy game next year, because I think they're very, very competitive. Should be an even more competitive league this time next season. But Saints, Greg, need to get off to a flyer.
Yeah, they do. I mean, I don't think you can safely predict any of the first games of the season. Lots of teams have got a change in personnel, but yeah, I mean, Saints in this one, it's important. It's important they go through a season relatively injury free. No Mickey taking now. They did suffer with injuries last season. It was clear to see, and it affected them. But yeah, I mean, Salford did really, really well against the top teams last season. Are they going to do as well this season? It depends what the outcome of these meetings are all about. But yeah, it's important. You're right. It is important that Saints set down a marker this season, early doors, as I think they probably did last season, and then the injuries kicked in. So I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to that game. I'm looking forward to the Lee Wigan game. I think I might go to that. The Wigan Lee game. I think I'm tempted to go to that.
Yes, it is a bit of temptation on that one, isn't
it?
It
is. The first game of the season.
Craig, of course, is in the right part of the country as well. He's going to the Wigan League game, but he's also tempted to go into that old Catalan game that Joel just spoke
exactly. And who knows? I might bump into my friend there, and we can muse over old times at the Wigan League game. So schmooze.
Outstanding.
I'm really, really tempted to go to that.
We'll come to the top one last. I'll bring you back in, Steph. Leeds Rhinos taking on Wakefield Trinity. Now, Wakey, on paper, competitive side, unknown quantity. Leeds Rhinos disappointing last season. Of course, Brad Arthur now firmly at the helm going into the new season. A lot of pressure, I have to say, at Headingley. A lot of pressure on Brad Arthur in that first game, because, if they were to come unstuck against Wakey, dear me. I mean, I don't think that'll go down very well with the Leeds faithful. A lot of pressure on the players and on Brad Arthur to get a round one win and almost a free shot, I think, for Wakey. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. And Wakefield, the players that Wakefield have signed already, they should be a match for, the Leeds of last season, definitely. We're going to see, obviously, how much the new signings at Leeds are going to come in, and also a pre-season under Brad as well for the Leeds squad. But, the Jungle Drums could start beating straight away in this one should the Rhinos go down to Wakefield. And I wouldn't be shocked if they did, based on Wakefield signings and the players that they're bringing in. And they'll be well up for this one, and a great stage for Wakefield to announce them back in Super League. So should be a really interesting fixture, that one, and what I'm really looking forward to.
No, I agree. Hull KR taking on Castleford Tigers. Well, look, let's be honest. I think KR at home round one. We know they've got a quality roster going into next season. Castleford, Danny Maguire, of course. Again, a lot of narratives in this. Wakey back against Leeds. Saints need a strong start. What about Salford? The two coaches, like we talked about, Hull FC against Catalan. The battle of the borough doesn't need any building up. At some point, Lee will get a scalp. Will it be in round one of 2025? Steph will be hoping so. But I have to say, I think of all of those games, I think this one at the bottom, and I hate to say this, but I do think that KR, I don't see any issues here for KR. I could be wrong when I say that, but I think that they will hit the ground running in 2025. I really do. And I think with the added potency of Reece Martin, with the kicking boot, I think, I'm sorry, Castleford Tigers fans, I know we're a long way out, but I just think that is a good starting game for Hull KR. When you look at the top four, top three last season, or top four, Wigan against Leigh, that's a tough game. Why are going to Huddersfield? Huddersfield under Luke Robinson. We'll get to that in a minute. It's going to be a different gravy. Some decent signings have been made there by Huddersfield Giants. Warrington pretty much standing still. You've got to say that with who Warrington's lost and who they brought in. Warrington standing still. Huddersfield are I think look to be improving going into next season, and they're not finished yet. You look at Salford. They're going to Saints. Tough gig for them. But I just think of those top four from last season, Hull KR, I think they're the team who will fancy it the most to get off to a winning start. And, of course, then it's going to be Warrington taking on the Giants. Warrington, of course, had Huddersfield's number last year. Very, very comfortable wins for the Wire against Huddersfield last season. Of course, one of those led to the departure of Ian Watson. Unlike when Warrington came to town at the back end of last season, Joel, feeling a bit more confident, I would hope, going into that opening game this season. Because let's not forget, you went to Leigh last year and you did them.
Yeah, had you asked me that question 6 weeks ago, I'd have probably said it's going to be another 66-4 victory to Warrington. However, with the new signings that we've got, it seems like where the south of the feeder club for us, we seem to be signing all their. I'm very happy about, by the way, we can have as many of the South players as we want. I think we'll have a far better season than if we did. However, I'm looking forward to this more now. We've got more strike where we need it. We've got a lot more potency in as forwards now, which I'm looking forward to watching. I'm going to be a bit curious to see how we're going with the defence, because we've got a lot more attacking players as opposed to defending players now. So, I'll look to do with watching.
We're just toasting you. We're feeling happy for you, Joel. You've got a smile on your face. You've got optimism. It's nice. It's nice to see. It's nice to see you've got optimism. It's a lovely, lovely thing, mate. It's a lovely thing. And of course, who knows? Latrell could be next. Imagine that. Hey, imagine Latrell playing for the Giants. Wow. I think Mr. Davies' checkbook would have to be a few notes on that one, I have to say. But hey, we can but dream of Latrell in Super League. Greg, I mentioned there about Warrington. I feel as if they're standing still a little bit at the moment in terms of who's come in and who's gone out.
I think the ethos is a new ethos around Warrington in that they're promoting from within.
Nice.
So don't be surprised if there are a few more new names that haven't come from Australia or other teams in their team sheet this season. That seems to be the new ethos. Yes, they maybe have stood still a little bit, but Leon Hayes is coming in. He was absolutely fantastic before his injury. I think this is really has the potential to be a really, really interesting game because Warrington is settled. They know what each other does. They know each other's game. Huddersfield have got some potentially fantastic signings, but we've all seen from past experience has shown that those signings might take a few weeks to bed in. It's February, the first game. It could be snowing. It could be cold. Those Aussie imports might not know what's hit them. I'm sorry, Joel. I don't wish to, pour water on your fire. I just think this has got the potential to be one of those games where, when it gets nearer the time, you can't call it because Huddersfield have recruited very, very well, and it's a great opening game, 3:00 on a Sunday afternoon.
Will
Fantastic.
it be?
Well, that's what it says so far.
Yeah, will it be? Because again, the narrative Burgess versus Burgess, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, it is.
Will Sky get on?
Can I just say?
Going back to. Sorry, go on, Joel.
Just on your point there, Greg. I'm sorry to butt in, but you're in Warrington. You're in much warmer climates than here in Huddersfield, up on the hills. So I am very much looking forward to it being -12 and you all struggling to even getting cramps all at field, whereas our Huddersfield boys will be absolutely loving it in the shorts.
Even Mr. Guy. But
Well,
just before we move on from that, wouldn't it be nice if there was an unwritten rule in every sport that the teams or the team that get promoted have a home game, first game of the season? Wouldn't that be lovely? Wakefield at home against Leeds. You know, let's have an unwritten rule in whatever sport it is. If you've been promoted, you get a home game, first game of the season.
Nice touch.
You know, what's worse? You know, we had Lee a few years ago who pushed Wigan really, really hard in their. I think it was their first game away to Wigan when it was 16 all, and the season came up and went straight back down.
Yeah, that was the COVID season when we couldn't.
Yeah, and you pushed them really hard.
Yeah, we should have beaten them.
If Lee had come up that season, beat Wigan at home, that could have been a whole different season for Lee. Let's have an unwritten rule that promoted teams, whoever in whatever sport it is, whoever they are, have a home game to get the fans behind them, to get a potential first win, a shock win maybe, that inspires the team, inspires the town, inspires the fans. Let's do that. Let's not have them away. Let's not have the promoted teams away. You know, it happens in football where Ipswich will get their first away game will be at Arsenal or be at United or Liverpool. Or let's have them at home so they get that momentum going. You know, I'm sure, you know, they fix most games in football. You know, I'm sure that can be easily rectified, that we have home games.
We've got it, mate. We've got it. Love it. Great idea. Absolutely loving that. Outstanding. Well played. Right. Okay. Let's just quickly, and it could have to be quick. Don't want to labour the point at all. But fixture number 2 has already come out as well. Trinity will then welcome KR. Good start for KR. We're not going to go into detail on these, but a good start for KR. Warrington then welcome Catalan. Could be a good game. Always is. That one between those two. Then go up against Wigan. So yeah, I mean, like I say, FC get off to a bad start at home against the Dragons. Then they've got Wigan to play next. Then Salford Leeds. They produced some good games against each other last year. Then Castleford taking on Saints. Torrid start that for Danny Maguire, it's got to be said. And then Lee taking on Huddersfield. It looks like it's a Jolly Boys outing round 2 as well. Outstanding roll off to Lee Leopards. Steph, can't be bad. Wonderful stuff. Other games as well that have been announced. Like I said, we'll get to detail of this next season, but just because they've been announced, let's get into them. The rivals round, absolutely. Trinity taking on Castleford, had to be, didn't it? Leeds against the Giants, the Hull derby, Wigan against Saints. Of course, this is taking place over the Easter weekend. Leopards against Wire, delighted with that. That for me is a growing rivalry. It really, really is. As a Warrington fan, I'd rather that than the Catalan game. We know that Lee can't have Wigan because Wigan always play Saints, and I'm sure Steph would agree. It's just growing, this rivalry between Lee and Warrington. I think it's going to be a belt of that at the LSV. And then, of course, finally, it's going to be Catalan taking on the Red Devils. And then, of course, the final ones that have been announced, Magic Weekend, we're going to be there. Are you going to join us? Yes, the Super League Raw family are going down. I think we've got to order as a group to get the tickets at 40%. I know some of you season ticket holders just crack on and get you 50% off if that's what you're doing. I think it's going to be the East Stand so that we can all sit together. Again, I think that's probably going to be the plan. But we'll get our heads together on the WhatsApp chat to make sure we all sit together. One thing's for certain, we do all want to go together because Magic and the grand final last year was brilliant, absolutely brilliant to be sharing that experience with each other. Be a part of it, become a member, come and join us at Magic Weekend. Believe you me, it was good crack, great banter, beer was flowing, and Joe Dalgreen is an animal. Lee Leopards will be taking on the Catalan Dragons. Hull KR take on the Salford Red Devils. Saints go up against the Rhinos, good game that one. Giants taking on FC, then Wire against Wigan, and then finally Castleford Tigers again going up against Wakefield Trinity. They've done that as the last game. Some really, really good games there to look forward to. And of course, tomorrow, the full fixture list will be announced. So keep your eyes peeled across social media tomorrow when all of that, I don't know why I'm being delayed, but there you go. When that comes out tomorrow, make sure you keep your eyes peeled for that. And yes, the Super League Raw, well, keep your eyes on Super League Raw as well, because in the coming weeks, something special is on the way with regards to the away fixtures for your team, but we'll announce that a little bit nearer at the time. Right then, boys, good chat. Hour into the show, just over. Time to do something a little bit different. We're getting ourselves through these winter months by doing something a little bit different, and I've got a cruel one tonight. I really have. This is going to be a debate and a half. I don't know how many of these we're going to get through. I've got about 5 or 6, so we probably won't get through them all. But we're going to play a game called You Can Only Pick One. You can only pick one. And the first question I've got for you is this one. Which former player of your side, if you could, would you have in your team for 2025? So a former player for your team can only be one. If you could bring one back for your team.
This is Super League or all time, mate?
All time. We'll just go all time on these. Who would that player be and why? Who would that player be and why? So that's my question that I'm putting to you. So who would like to go first? Former player. Greg, over to you.
Brian Bevan.
Brian Bevan on the wing.
Yeah. Simply the greatest try scorer of all time.
And he's replacing Josh, I presume?
Yeah.
Over Matty, yeah. Right, okay.
Yeah.
So you'd have Brian Bevan and Matty Ashton on the way. I'll tell you what, there's some speed
John.
on. There'd be some speed on them wings, wouldn't there? Hey, with Bevan
they
and
wouldn't need 2 wingers. They wouldn't need a fullback. They wouldn't need a winger.
Wow.
Brian Bevan was just the greatest rugby league player there's ever been.
Well, stats don't lie, mate. I don't think anybody. We wax lyrical over the Ryan Hall, Josh Charnley, and the likes, and the try scoring exploits in Super League. Consider the pitches back in the day. And the amount of tries that man scored, incredible. So yeah, I understand that. Steph,
he looked 50. He was 25. He was bandaged up. He looked like a good meal would kill him, and nobody could lay a hand on him. Steph's granddad probably would tell you.
I'd say reminds me of when I first met you, mate. Anyway, oh, what's going on? Can't be saying things like that on air. Shocking stuff. Greg's gone. Right, who's going next? Joel or Steph?
I'll go. Yeah, I was gonna say, obviously, I'd bring my granddad back for obvious reasons. But it would be nice to see him play against Brian again because, not for me because he run rings round my granddad at Wembley. But one for another day. But no, it's got to be John Woods. He's got a statue outside Lee, and obviously connection with Warrington as well. Desi Drummond would be close for me as well. What a fantastic winger. Another Lee Warrington connection there as well. But no, John Woods, I was very lucky to see the tail end of his career, both at Warrington and at Lee for his second stint there. Absolutely magical player, John Woods, and could do it with 2 pints before he started playing as well. So he's the stuff around Lee. So no, John's a great. I know John really well and his brother. So I would bring John back.
Fair enough. Joel?
It's a tough one because there's not a lot of players that I think of that I'd like to bring back. However, there's 5 that I'd love to bring back, but if I'm picking one, which I am, it would have to be Danny Brough. And the reason why is because his left foot was made out of gold, diamond, and every other precious gem you can find. He was every defender's nightmare. He defended like an absolute Rottweiler. He was just the all-round player that I think we would need in our team, and his percentage of his kicking was way up there with some of the best that's been. So for that, I'd be taking out Adam Clome and putting in Danny Brough.
You know what
at 7.
we should do? I might actually do this for this season because we know the members like a bit of sport. We might do a playlist on iTunes, Super League Raw playlist, and would Diamonds on the Soles of His Shoes by Paul Simon off the Graceland album be on there in tribute to Danny Brough.
Radio Gaga's already in, isn't it?
Yeah, Radio Gaga. Yeah, that'd be another one for. That'd be another one.
Reese Lightning.
Yeah. Mate, it could happen. This. Hey, should we do it? Get your message in the chat. Who would you like in the Super League Raw?
That's a good shout as well. What based on Joel's selection there, Danny Brough's son's just signed for Lee.
Absolutely, yes, he has. Let's get back in the chat, though. Robert Higson, he's going Desi Drummond. You mentioned Desi. Don't know if he means for Lee or for Warrington there. I think Rob Lee?
Lee,
I think it's Lee, isn't he? Yeah. So he's going for Lee. Carl Ablett for Mark Hill. Good play, Carl Ablett. Andy Farrell for Dawn Baker. Wally Lewis for David Billix. Craig Forth's going Andy Farrell. Adrian Morley for John Wilkinson. Big Moz. Roger Millwood, no explanation needed, says Richard Fewless in there as well. I'm going to go, and the whole premise of that first question was, of course, the anniversary of the passing of the late, great Sir Michael Gregory. I'm going to go Mike. I'm going to go Mike at loose forward at the wire. Great player at a time when Warrington needed some quality. I mean, he pretty much carried that Warrington team to the Challenge Cup final in 1990. Lovely fella. Took far too soon. Quality. I mean, let's be fair. Mike Gregg was, captain of his country in an era where you had the late, you had players like Ellery Hanley and this, that, the other. That just tells you, how good a player Mike Gregg was. So I'm going Mike, quality player. Craig Forth, Tequila and Semba rocking all over the world. Mago. I have one. I had one for Semba, didn't I? I can't remember what it was.
Don't bother remembering it, Dave.
No, but I did have one for Nsemba.
Stand by me.
Junior Nsemba. That's what it is. Junior Nsemba. That's what it is. Yeah, we'll have that one in there. We'll get that one in the playlist, and we'll do Tequila.
Oh, think it. Okay, I was going to be
Erasure. A little respect. Duran, Hungry Like the Wolf. What's that one, mate?
Piranhas, Tom Hark.
Yeah, mate. Hey, it's going to happen. This. I'll tell you. Hey, Super League Raw playlist. Banging. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, only banging tunes allowed.
Away Day playlist is a great show.
An Away Day playlist, absolutely. Yeah, if you can, if you've already listened to the podcast, an Away Day playlist. Absolutely.
We can have the Wigan for Wigan fans. Put that one in.
Yeah.
And the other Wigan one. Na.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I got Craig Forth there's gone the best Tina Turner. There you go.
Yes, that's a good one.
He's straight in. Right, okay. Question number 2. All right. If you could have one retired player that has not represented your team in Super League, this needs to be a British player, by the way, caveat. So if you could have a retired player, British player, to represent your side in 2025, who would it be? So that's a tough question, that. But who would it be and why? So who's going first on that one?
I'll go.
Go on then, mate.
Sam Burgess.
Sam Burgess? You going Sam?
Yeah. One of the best prop forwards there's ever been and ever will be. And not just for on-field, but from his leadership qualities. And, the image of him winning the grand final with a broken cheekbone just epitomised the person he is and stuff like that. And as a leader, I think the reason why South had their resurgence and became back to being the South of old has a lot to do with Russell Crowe and Sam Burgess, the sparkly-eyed boy and stuff. So I'd love to have Sam Burgess in my side.
Fair play. Who's going next? Go on then, Greg.
Sean Edwards.
Sean Edwards.
Sean Edwards. Absolute class. I was thinking Martin of Fire, but I've already had one winger. So Sean Edwards was absolute class. Sean Edwards and Andy Gregory, unplayable pair at halfback. Wigan Ellery Hanley as well, but yeah, Sean Edwards for me was a wonderful player. Wonderful player.
Fair
so
enough.
yeah, Sean Edwards.
Sean Edwards for you, Joel. You're going Big Moz. For no other reason than he's just going Big Moz. Lovely. Outstanding. No dramas with that. Robert Higson's agreeing. He's gone Adrian Morley. Craig Forth gone Clive Sullivan. Fantastic player. Legend of the game. Don't disagree with that. David Billix has gone Neil Fox for Wakefield. Brett Johnson, he's gone Gareth Ellis for his side. Big Jim Mills, says Alan Clegg. Lee Breers for Mark Hill. Billy Boston for Craig Forth. I don't think he's quite getting this, that he's not represented your side.
Craig, Billy Boston played for your team.
I think you're showing a real lack of knowledge there, Craig. What's going on? I had you down as a Wigan guru.
He's still celebrating them 4 trophies.
Shocking that. I agree. Yeah, I agree. I agree with Steve Cartledge. I'm going Kev Sinfield. I am. I'm going with. I'd have Kev because again, you mentioned about Sam Burgess game management. You know what Sinfield did from fifth for Leeds. You know the way he managed Leeds around that park, and you know in finals, his game smarts and game management was simply outstanding. And because he's been there, done it, and got the t-shirt and titles and all the rest of it in the Super League era, I'm going with Sinfield. I'm going with Steve on that one. Phil Webster's agreeing. Richard Fulis has gone Robbie Burrow. Rebecca Frey, she wants Eye of the Tiger in the playlist. Happy days. Yeah, you know, this playlist, boys.
Jamie Lyons a good shout, isn't he?
Jamie Lyons. Well, yeah, but he's not British, is he? Not British.
Oh, sorry, yes. So I'm doing a Craig.
You're doing a Craig. Yeah, but actually, that's not as shocking as Craig's. No, that's not as shocking as Craig's. Unbelievable. Anyway, we love you, really, Craig. Don't be too upset with us. Right, okay.
Don't leave the chat.
What, Reg?
Don't leave the chat, Craig.
Yeah, don't leave the chat. Yeah. Don't leave the chat. Stick around, Craig. Stick around. Oh, Robbie Paul is coming.
Can I change mine?
John Wilson said Robbie Paul. I can't remember Robbie being British. Can you?
No.
It's catching.
I want to. Can I change mine?
Go on. What's yours? Go on then, Joel.
I can't believe it. I didn't think of this. We was in his company last week.
Go on.
Barry McDermott.
Barry Mack. Yeah, big. Yeah, big Bazza. Yeah, saying that though was a different era. Could be off the field a lot, Bazza, in this era, has to be said. Right. Okay, let's get back in. Right, right. I think this is tough. Right. So what we've got now? It's going well. This. Outstanding. Yeah, just put it together. It's going well. Right. Pick one. We're gonna go. Where we're gonna go first? We're gonna go to the wings. Let's go to the wings. Pick one. So here we go. Jason Robinson, Martin Afire, Leslie Vinacolo, Ryan Hall, Josh Charnley. This is a debate. If ever there was one. That is, it might be easy, man.
Easy.
That is a quality lineup of wingers, it has to be said. I think we're going to learn something about what we like to see in rugby league players here. So, Reggie, as you've been going first on this, and I think you've already mentioned his name, I would be surprised if you switched it. Who are you going?
Vinacolo.
Right, fair enough. Yeah, because Jarrett is English. Fair enough. Are you going Big Leslie?
Yeah. He was a man mountain on the wing. I think probably only Ryan Hall could have probably stopped him. Leslie Vinacolo was huge in that Bradford team. He was bigger than most other teams' second rows and props. He was a man mountain. Vinacolo was huge. So I would have him on my wing and Brian Bevan on the other.
Wow. Yeah, I must admit. He was a player. Was our Leslie? Where are you going, Steph?
Exactly the same. Leslie Vinacolo. What a player! What a player! I mean, to be fair, all five of those are excuse me.
Yeah, they're all class.
Those are class players. But I think that era of Bullmania, Bradford being the dominant team, a lot of that was due to him and the popularity because he did some things on the pitch that, like you say, it's like a prop forward running at 30 miles an hour. Absolutely ridiculous. And probably a bit biased in terms of that was my experience growing up of Super League. So yeah, that's why I'd have Leslie. But I think Jason Robinson, I mean, to do it in both codes as well, and win the World Cup at Rugby Union as well, is a big testament to him.
Well, I mean, in the chat, Steve Cartledge, Robinson, Robert Higson, Robinson, Vinacolo for Mark Hill, as for Phil Webster, Hall for Richard Fulis, Leslie second for Steve Cartledge, Robbo, Ryan Hall, Nicola Burnwood. Nicola's gone Ryan Hall, and as a Lee Leopards fan, fair play. Chariots for Matthew Chambers, the gaming goat is back.
He couldn't tackle. That's the only problem with the player.
Well, that's it. Defensively, Desi Drummond used to love playing Chariots. Chariots. I witnessed Chariots running to the other wing because he couldn't stand facing Des Drummond. No wonder he was quick. He didn't like to be tackled.
Anna Fire was the only player who could come off a pitch with a clean shirt.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's because nobody could catch him. Let's be fair. Joel, who are you going, mate?
It's a shame we couldn't really have eliminated them from 5-1. But when you've put, I think you know exactly where I'm going, but when you've got Jason Robinson in there, that's a real tough one because he was an unreal player. He made everyone just go, wow. Whenever he touched the ball, because everything he did just turned to gold, didn't it? But I've got to go to Leslie Vainikolo, my favourite player growing up as a young lad. I absolutely loved watching Leslie play.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those who don't know, Joel's diet is based on Leslie's diet, isn't it, Joel? Here we go. He's smiling. He's smiling.
I love how
he's smiling. I'm miles away from you. You can't get me.
I love that you always have these pelters whenever we're not together.
And there's a reason for that, mate.
You're one of the few people on this planet that can get away with saying stuff like that to me.
I know, because you love me. You're an absolute legend, mate. But actually, going to Greg's still crawling out from under his desk. Mate, me and Joel are brothers, mate. Don't you worry. Bradford, 152 appearances and 148 tries. Wow. Some record, that, isn't it?
Yeah, do you know what? Still not as good as Joel Molly to try a game.
I know. Well, yeah, exactly. Joel was a try game, but Vainikolo, what a beast! 152 appearances, 148 tries, absolutely outstanding stuff. Right, let's go again. We're enjoying this. It's good fun. It's good fun, this, boys. It's good fun. Right, where are we going to go next? Which one should we do next? Yeah, let's do that. This is a tasty one. Right, pick one. Adrian Morley, Sam Burgess, Alex Walmsley, James Graham, Jamie Peacock. Now that is brutal. That's brutal. That is a brutal lineup. And I mean, no apologies for Alex being in there. I think that we'd all agree. Walmsley is probably one of the most overlooked in the game for me. What he's done at Saints over the years, in his pomp, could have maybe got over to the NRL. I mean, going back to Joel's point about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, he'd probably be fifth on most of our list, I would guess, in that company. But I thought he was due his day in the sun in terms of that company. But after that, wow, really, really tough to pick them ones. Who's going first on this one?
I'll go if you want.
Go on, mate.
I've already picked him as me thingy.
You can't pick one out of them.
But you have to.
Yeah, I'm going to pick Sam just because of what he did, but it's very, very close between him, Graham, and Morley for me as ones that have done it over here and in the NRL. Peacock would be fourth, Walmsley fifth, but they're all class prop forwards who've represented our country impeccably.
Yeah, okay. Who's going next? Greg, going next?
Wow. This is a tough one. I mean, Jamie Peacock, the way he stood up to Willie Mason when Mason deck fielded and basically ended his career.
Yeah.
He deserves big rap because he stood toe-to-toe with Willie Mason. James Graham, an absolute superstar. Alex, you're right. You know, something like Alex Walmsley, huge in Super League. And I would love to see what he'd have done in Australia. I really, really would. For me, it's a toss-up between Morley and Burgess. Burgess wins a grand final with his jaw hanging off. Adrian Morley wins grand finals on both sides of the world and inspires Warrington. And that's why I'm going to be totally biased here. You'll be surprised at this. So I don't think Peacock and Big Alex. Peacock was brilliant. The way he stood up to Mason, the way he led the line. He had a great pack behind him, as did all the other guys. I'm going to go Adrian Morley because I think his signing was a turning point in Warrington's fortunes. Personally, for me, you know, this has got to be a personal choice, I think. Sam Burgess was a brilliant player, was really shafted by the rugby union. When, you know, they blamed him for a defeat against Wales when they took him off the pitch, and that's when Wales scored all their tries. But for me, Adrian Morley, a true leader, none of them have taken a backward step. But for me, the way he inspires teams, and I know the same can be said of Burgess and the others. But for me, Adrian Morley.
Righto. Joel?
I'm really struggling with this one.
It's a tough one, isn't it,
I'm going to be honest. I do really like Walmsley, but I'd put Stuart Fielding in the kind of help with him as well.
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult, this, because you've got 4 of my favourite ever props there. I think I'm going to have to go number 1, Burgess, because of not just what he's done in England, what he's done in Australia, and what he's done internationally. You know, we're not just talking one league; we're talking 3 different types of game here that he's dominated. And I think he's probably the best prop to ever play the game, and he's in the top there of one of the greats to ever play the game in general. I know that's sticky ground saying stuff like that, but I think he has to be up there. But then you look at people like James Graham, Adrian Morley, Jamie Peacock. These are unreal players. But it has to be Burgess, just because, for me, he's one of not the, but one of the greatest players to ever play the game.
Joe, I'm loving this because it is hard. And when I thought what we're going to talk about tonight, I thought, this will get people in the chat, and it has got people in the chat. Phil Webster's gone Burgess. Carl Shaw's gone Peacock. They are. So Carl Shaw's gone Peacock. Rebecca Frey's gone Mozza. As has Craig Forth. As has Alan Clegg. As has.
No, it's all opinions, isn't it, mate? It really is all opinions.
Of course it is, mate. Absolutely.
I saw what Morley did to Warrington, and that's why I went for Morley.
Yeah.
But, all you would have all of those. You'd have those at 2 props, a hooker, and 2 second rows if you could.
Of course you would. The whole premise of this.
5 on the pitch. You wouldn't need any other players if those 5s were playing for you.
But the premise of this is you're picking one. That's why we're having a debate. We're picking one. Richard Fulis, Graham, has gone Graham. But Joe, going back to Carl Shaw's point, okay? Who is the player with the most appearances in the Super League Dream Team?
Peacock, I'd say.
It is Jamie Peacock with 11. 11 dream teams, and I think it's something like 14, maybe 15 seasons. 11
he's played the most in Super League games, I'd imagine, hasn't he?
Well, yeah, but he stayed in Super League.
He got to the NRL, yeah.
Walmsley came to Super League a bit later. The rest, of course, got on.
How many Dal-IMs does he won?
Well, he's not. But the point is, this is why he's there. 11 dream teams tells you what a great player Jamie Peacock
is. For someone who stayed in Super League solely, I'd say he's the best.
Yeah, as a Super League player.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen Peacock and Walmsley in the NRL.
I think in the
they
prime
would have been superstars.
In the prime, absolutely. I think they'd have stood up to it.
They'd probably do a good job now.
And I will be asking Alex that, because I know that the NRL, I think we're sniffing around him at one point. I'll be asking how close he came to signing for an NRL team back in the day, especially around the 2019-2020 period when he was really in top form. I'm going to go with
Dave, it might be interesting whether COVID put mockers on that.
Yeah,
we'll find that out, won't we, when we sit down with Big Al. But what I will say is I'm going Moz. And the reason I'm going Moz over Burgess, because I agree, I think they're the 2. I think Moz and Burgess are the 2. I think what James Graham did down there, again, I said this about Tom Burgess when he signed for Huddersfield. The fact that Sam is Sam Burgess. I don't think Tom has got the raps he deserves for his career itself. So I think Tom Burgess has been outstanding, but Sam's the man that everybody talks about. And I think James Graham suffers as well for the same reason. I think what James Graham did in the NRL. I mean, we see how he's working over there now on Fox. They love him over there. He's a legend over there. James Graham is incredible. But the thing is, for me, is I think that Sam Burgess, respected, great player, respected by all. Adrian Morley was feared by the Australians. That's the difference. Mozza was feared. absolutely feared. And Mozza, for me, was the man who opened the door for Sam, for Tom, for James Graham, because all of a sudden he went, hang on.
Took us seriously.
Arguably, Moz at that time was the number one prop in the world. Number 100%. In the world, 100%. Yeah. You know, and for me, that's why I'd go Moz, because he was feared. He was absolutely feared, and he gave our competition and British Rugby League the respect that was long overdue in Australia for me. And the rest have piggybacked on the back of that, you know, and the likes of Sam and the rest have done a really good job with it as well, and have created their own legendary status. You know, they stand alone. They're not in the wake of him. They're not in the shadow of him. But I just think Mozza, that's what he did. He was feared. So that's why I'm going with Big Moz, is because he was feared. Right, okay, where are we going next? Right, I've got some more. We're doing well here for time. Where am I going to go next? Oh, this is tough. This is tough. Let's go to this one. You ready for this one?
Leaders.
Well, no, Huddersfield would win that in your eyes, wouldn't they? You know, those Huddersfield cheerleaders. We're looking forward to seeing them in round one. But anyway, let's go back if I'm still invited.
After the court case,
we could have just gone south for the winter, couldn't it? Anyway, we move on to the centre.
Steph and Greg, you've got your tickets ready.
Absolutely.
That's it. Get your own ticket. I don't blame you, Joel. I don't blame you. Right, this is a toughie. Right, centres. Keith Senior, Martin Gleeson. I put Farmouth in there. Mark Percival and Jake Wardle. One centre spot. Who are you picking? That's a tasty lineup of centres, if ever you've seen them. Who are you going with on that? Reggie, we'll start with you. Where are you going?
I was hoping you wouldn't, to be honest. Peacock.
No, he's gone.
Percival, too injury prone. Great centre. Too injury prone. Herbie Farnworth. Oh, what a great player. And he's got the potential to be one of the best centres we've ever seen. I'm going to go for Keith Senior. I mean, the guy was, you know, the tries he scored, his defence, his assists. Martin Gleeson was a great centre, but I'm going for Senior. I think Wardle has got a chance to improve. I think Percival, if he'd stayed injury free, would be up there, and his goal kicking sets him apart from the others. Herbie Farnworth, as I've said, is a young kid, and he's got the potential to be one of the greatest centres that's ever played the game. But it's moments in time, I'm going to go for Keith Senior. He was part of that great Leeds team. He was an unsung hero, I think, in that Leeds team. He also was at Wembley with Sheffield when I'm right in saying they beat Wigan at Wembley.
Correct, you're spot on.
I think I'm right with that.
You are. Yeah.
So, you know, he was a great player. He was an underrated player, but he was one of those players that Leeds were a different team when he wasn't in that side. So I'm going for Keith Senior.
Yeah, no, a lot of people agree with you in the chat. Robert Higson, he's gone Senior. Steve Cartledge has gone Senior. So yeah, a few there for Senior. Joel, will come to you. Tough lineup this one. Where your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, it's a very tough one. I'm going to be between Keith Senior and Martin Gleeson, because the reason why I'm saying that is because Farnworth, I don't know, you know, would he do well in Super League? Super League is far more defensive than the attacking NRL. Percival, as Greg mentioned, is far too injury prone, and Jake Wardle isn't proven enough for me at that high level. Because he spent his time at Huddersfield and now he's been at Wigan for a couple of seasons, and I think he just needs a bit more time to be up there. But he's got the potential for sure. Martin Gleeson, I think, was an incredible centre, but for me, it's only just tipped by Keith Senior because his attack and his defence was as equally as good as each other, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely days. Steph, which way are you going, mate?
I think Reggie said it all. Exactly as I was thinking, Reggie. It's the exact same way. I've got Senior. I think Gleeson was great. I think Herbie Farnworth could potentially turn into the best centre in the world.
Win the Golden Boot.
Yeah, exactly. He's got the potential to think it, but I think if we're judging it on what's happened and actual, achievements and stuff like that, I don't think you can look past Keith Senior.
No.
If you're an opposing centre, who do you least want to see running at you?
Yeah.
And for me, that's Keith Senior. Because his knees came up to his chin, his elbows came up to his forehead. He would clean you out, Keith Senior. Defence and attack. Awesome player.
I think in most people's all-time Super League 13, if I remember rightly, Keith Senior was centering most people's when we did that earlier in the season as well. So
Senior for me is class. I think I don't know about you, but deserved to win more grand finals than he did.
Yeah. Well, he retired just as it was all coming good as well, didn't it? I mean, he had some great times at Leeds and whatever, but that dynasty at Leeds, it was tail end of his career, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was very, very underrated.
He got a couple, didn't he? But yeah, he just missed out on. He could have got a few more, but unfortunately, as you say, he just a little bit later on for him. But yeah, class player. I'll tell you what though, there's a lot of love in the for Herbie Farnworth in the chat. I'll tell you now, guys.
Herbie Farnworth is going to be.
If we're doing this in 3 years' time, it could be a complete shoo-in.
It's going to be awesome, Herbie Farnworth.
Yeah, it could be another shoo-in. Right, okay. Let's find a tough one. Where am I going next?
I think they've all been tough, Dave.
No. But I think this is going to be an interesting debate. Here we go. Get ready for this one. Noah Stevens, Jack Ferrimond, Logan Moy, Harry Robertson, Kai Taylor-Ray. A little look into the future here, boys.
This is good.
This is tasty. This is tasty. Yeah, who wants to kick off there? Now, people will be shouting, where's Eckersley? Eckersley, for me, is above these guys.
Yeah.
He's been there. He's scored a Challenge Cup final try. For me, Eckersley is ahead of these at this moment. This is, for me, a young crop that probably 2025 is ringed on their calendar. This is their year. This is the year they'll want to move on, and like what Eckersley and Lindop at Warrington have done this year. They'll want to.
I'll go.
That's the way I see it. So that's why I picked these 5. That's why Eckersley and Lindop aren't in there. I think everybody expects those two to have great careers and have already been ticked off as they're going to be fine. They're going to be potentially international rugby league players. These 5, there's still a bit of work to do before we give them that accolade. But if you could pick one of them, who would it be?
Kai Taylor-Ray.
You on Kai Taylor-Ray?
Yeah.
Joe?
For 2 reasons. Skill set is great. He seems like he's got some speed behind him. He's got all the attributes that a young showing, where he's going to be a good player later on. But I think having someone like Burgess, who's had younger brothers to help them bring them along, I feel like he's the man that would know how to nurture him better than any of the others as a coach, because he's so close to his time at playing. So far, and he's the one that shines out of all of them.
Fair enough. Talented boy, great try at Cass. Beautiful try against Casper Tigers last year. Befitting of any highlights reel of 2024, that was. Steph?
I've been really impressed with Taylor-Ray. A lot of people probably expect me to pick Farriman being a Lee lad and a fan of the Lee Leopards. But I think he's had a great introduction into Super League, Farriman, this year. But you've got to factor in that he's playing in, a team that's won all 4 trophies. Very, very good players around him, and that would have made it a bit easier for him. But I do think he's definitely one for the future. But I would say Robertson at Saints. I think just his evasiveness, and in a Saints side that was struggling, he was the standout player a lot of the times this season. I think he's got so much potential, and as he grows and gets a bit more mature and fits into that team a bit more, I think he could be very, very dangerous. And Saints have got form, haven't they, for producing world class fullbacks. So I would say he's probably what I'm most excited about.
Fair enough. Reggie?
It's a difficult one. I think at this moment in time, I'd have to look at who is the most complete player. And I think Farrimond and Taylor Ray and Noah Stevens are probably the ones that are the most complete players at this stage of their career. And I understand what Steph's saying, but Robertson's got a few mistakes in him. And I'm going to, again, I don't want to sound biased, but I'm going to say I know. Because I think it's between him and Farrimond. Stevens is a great player, but Stevens has got that edge to him where he needs to curb his temper. He needs to control himself a little bit more. No, he does, because he gave a few penalties away towards the end of the season. And he needs to curb that. Farrimond, as you're saying, came into a team. You know, his try at Magic Weekend was superb. He's going to be a great player. He's the heir apparent to Bevan French. You know, that's why if French leaves Wigan now, I don't fear for them, because Farrimond will step into his shoes and he'll do a great job. Taylor Ray, Robertson is a good player. He's a brilliant player and burst onto the scene, but he did make some errors. I've not seen Taylor Ray make any errors, and that's why I'm going for Taylor Ray. He's a big lad. He's strong. You know, he could be a second rower, the size of him. He's the heir apparent to Dufty, so I'm going to go for Taylor Ray. Sorry, everybody. No, I'm completely and that's not me being biased. That's me being analysing form and shut up, Steph.
Well. I mean, you know, just for giggles, you mentioned Noah Stevens has given penalties away. 15 appearances last year. He gave 3 away.
It was in his last few games, though.
And to be fair to Greg, that's knowledge, because actually 2 of those came in the last 2 games. So well done, Mr. Nixon. And well done. I'll give you that one.
I think he gave 1 away when Saints were in an attacking position.
More than likely. Yeah.
But
no, but I tell you what, I think Kai Taylor Ray is the heir apparent to Matt Dufty. I think the stars have aligned perfectly for Warrington there. Robertson, you know, and this is the thing about Eckersley and Robertson. Have the stars aligned for them? Ferriman's another one. You know, I'm concerned for those 3 because of the age profile and who's ahead of him currently in those squads.
I think they need to move away, though.
I do.
They're going to become superstars. They've all got the potential to be superstars in our game, but I think they maybe need to get away from the parent clubs for a bit.
Yeah. Well, I think certainly. I mean, Farriman definitely. I think he's a player that I just don't see where he fits at Wigan certainly in the short term. I think if he bided his time, medium to long, he might, you know, become a starter for him potentially. But at the moment, he ain't got a prayer. You know, as long as Bevan French and Harry Smith are there, he's not getting in unless injuries take the place. It's just not happening. But I have to say, you know, of those players, like I say, I think Kai Taylor Ray, stars of a line perfectly, very exciting player. I've seen this kid come right the way through, and he is box office. I mean, Lindop's another box office. I think these 2 lads, probably 2 of the most exciting Warrington youngsters I've seen in many a generation, and they've come together. That said,
you know what, mate? It's Sculthorpe and Harris.
Absolutely. I mean, just
the 2 most exciting players at Warrington.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Unbelievable quality. But I'm really, really liking Noah Stevens. I really like
He's
him,
a
Noah
Warrington lad.
Stevens.
He's a Warrington lad as well.
He's 15 appearances last year. His average carries 8.5 meters. 8.5 meters per carry. He's only a kid. He's only a kid and he's getting 8.5 meters a carry. I mean,
Sam Wood's another one though at Warrington.
yeah.
Wigan Academy lad who's come to you.
Maxwood.
Maxwood.
Yeah, Sam Wood's gas, but yeah, no, I think Noah Stevens. But I think again for me, I like me forwards. I don't think forwards get a look in. I'm really excited by Noah Stevens.
Yeah,
really excited by him. I think he could be again. You talk about Kai Taylor-Ray being the heir apparent to Dufty. This could be the heir apparent. Probably they need somebody before him into where Walmsley's concerned, because I think Alex is certainly now in the twilight, and this kid's only young, but I think he is the heir apparent. I think Noah Stevens is a very
The fear is that Saints might bring in somebody from outside the club to replace Walmsley,
possibly, but then
that's the fear.
But the thing about the props, I mean, they've got the likes of Parsi still there. I think this kid's he's in and around it now. I mean, actually, let's go back to the squad numbers. What squad number did he get? Let's have a look. What's his squad number? 21. So he's still got Parsi ahead of him there. But that'd put him as second prop on the bench, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
it would. Oh no, George Delaney. So you've got Parsi.
He's a better prop forward than Delaney.
I thought Delaney had a decent year. I thought he had a decent year, but I think he's more bruising than Delaney. Yeah, I think Delaney's probably better with his hands at this point in time. But in terms of brutal force, I think Stevens at the moment.
Yeah, but what Saints will probably do is they'll probably move Knowles into the prop position when Walmsley retires. They'll probably move Knowles up to the front row.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's an interesting point that Craig's just made there, because we haven't really seen this year. And this was my argument when Salford rested players before they played in the playoffs. And it's obviously we've got the maximum playing time, which, don't get me wrong, injuries take care of that. But he's right. For example, Luke Thompson at Wigan played a lot of minutes last year. Matty Lees at Saints played a lot of minutes last year. So he is right that, under the protocols, some of these lads perhaps are going to have to take a bit of time off in 2025, and it opens the door for the likes of Noah Stevens. So, yeah, good shout that by Craig. Anyway, that's just been a bit of fun, boys. Just thought, we'd do a bit of pick one. Well, I'm very conscious of the time. We'll slide one more in. Very conscious of the time. Very conscious of the time. We've only got a couple of minutes left. Very, very conscious of the time. So, which one am I going to give you? I'm going to give you. Should we do you want players or kits?
Players.
Okay. There you go. So you've got Luke Yates, Cade Ellis, Morgan Knowles, Elliot Minchella, Ben Garcia. Good luck, boys. Very different at 13. Different styles. Different styles of play. But if you could pick any of them as you start in 13 in 2015, who would it be and why? Reggie?
Minchella. End of.
Elliot, you go Elliot Minchella.
Yates is brilliant defensively. Cade Ellis and Morgan Knowles are similar players in that they're not really Yates, Ellis and Knowles are kind of props that move to loose forward. Ben Garcia's a good player, but I'd go for Elliot Minchella all day long. Inspirational, defensively superb, attacking, great hands, a proper loose forward. A loose forward in the mould that I watched growing up with Mike Gregory and Farrell and Ellery Hanley, that were great defensively, but were like another halfback with vision and great hands. So I'm picking Minchella. The other players are Garcia's in that mould, but I'm going for Minchella.
Fair enough. Mr. Scholes, which one are you going with, mate?
Another good selection. For me, it'd be between Garcia, Minchella, and Yates. I think Yates is a very good workhorse. He's got a really good engine on him. I think, to his own detriment, he tries too hard sometimes. He's trying to get involved in things that he doesn't need to get involved with, which is good for a team because, his defence is crazy. But I think Minchella just pips him at the post because, like Yates, he's a good leader, but I think he's probably a better leader, and the fact that he's English.
Fair enough, mate. Mr. Sale.
Concerningly, I couldn't agree with Reggie Moore again. So no, I think Reggie summed it up perfectly. I would go at this moment in time. If I was getting a 13, it'd be Minchella, and I think it was a criminal that he didn't get in the England 13. For me, given the season that he's had, and especially the form KR have been in, which a lot of that has been down to him in the shadow of Mikey Lewis. So yeah, like Joel said, all fantastic 13s, but for me, I would personally take Minchella out of those 5.
Yeah, well, he won the KR Player of the Year, didn't he? By the so that's got him there. Different styles. If you were picking a play that you wanted to do the first hit up and get you the ball, you'd probably go Knowles or Yates. If you wanted a ball playing 13, then as you're saying, Minchella, and that's not be.
Minchella's a proper 13.
Yeah, I do think Yates has been a great signing for Warrington, though.
Oh, absolutely,
yes.
mate. Yeah, absolutely. He's brought things that we didn't have. But yeah, Minchella, 7th highest tackler last year, 838. Can do it both sides of the ball. Class player. So yeah, happy day. So there you go. A bit of.
Who did you pick?
Who's your choice, Dave?
Probably Minchella. Yeah, for that reason, he's a complete player. Isn't it interesting if we were doing that? If we were picking 5, probably 2 years ago, Greg. Westerman would have been there. Cam Smith would have been in there. Minchella would have probably not even been in there 2 or 3 years ago. It wouldn't have even made it, but how it's shifting sands, isn't it? That's where we are now, and that's where he is. Right, guys, that is another fantastic evening of rugby league merriment and chat. Don't know what we're going to come up with next week, but it will be Wednesday again because of work commitment. So this is for the next week as well. Do apologise. We're going to have to do it on Wednesday again next week, just because of work commitments, nothing else. And look, at the end of the day, it's going to move around. It is winter. We're giving you some entertainment. Don't shoot the messenger. That's just
exactly.
Just the way it's got to be. But we are back Wednesday. As you can see there, Super League Superstars, fantastic, absolutely marvellous. Couple left, not many. If you did, still a chance. Give me an email if you're interested in them. Absolutely outstanding. Come today. Couldn't be happy with them. Exceptional standard of cards. Fantastic. If you get all 3, you're playing with 96 cards. Oh yes, Christmas Day. Never been better, has it? Never been better. Forget all these silly quiz packs that you buy out of Marks and Spencer's. Don't mean anything. Don't even come out of the box. You'll be playing Super League Superstars because you love your rugby league. Come on, get in there. It makes sense. Next week we will feature Group B of Mastermind. If you've not considered becoming a member, why not? Become a member. Get involved with all this merriment. Magic Weekend, Grand Finals, Mastermind, Quiz Nights. Oh, it's going to be outstanding. Super League Live on the 21st of January. And for all of that information, in the chat, in the comments, are the links to our Patreon page and how you can get the Super League Superstars and all the rest of it. But on behalf of us all, thank you very much indeed for showing up once again this Wednesday evening to enjoy our company and chat. No Joels were hurt in the making of this episode. I'll just say that straight off the bat. But ladies and gentlemen, do come back to us next week for more Super League Raw. Gentlemen, good evening.